This is awesome, dude. Getting connected through the Instagram connection that we have with everyone, I feel like there's just like I always bring it up because it's one of the coolest things. There's like between maybe 100 to 150 accounts, and we're all just intermingled. And this is what happens. I can get guests on. I can be a part of other people's shows, and it's awesome, dude. This is what Star Wars does. It brings people together. But man, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm just cruising, and like you said, man, the community, you can have any amount of following, and everybody just knows everybody for some reason. It's super cool. It's like a big family.
Starship on the jet.
Like I said, this is the first time having you on, first time actually having a face-to-face conversation for what you can do, yeah, what you can do on the Zoom via camera conversation. But yeah, man, this is awesome. Definitely glad to get you on, and I'm a huge fan of what I see on your channel too, dude. Like I was actually showing my wife earlier. She's like, "Who you having on today?" And I was like, "Well, this guy, his name's JT." And like just check this out, showed her your your Instagram, and like, dude, you're just going crazy with the lightsaber. Like, this isn't, everyone that I see on social media or even YouTube shorts, anything like that, Obi Annie, Obi Annie, Obi Annie, all you see,
Yeah.
easy, nice, cool. I can do the Obi Annie, I'm pretty good at that. But you're over here doing things like that I haven't really seen much, and I'm not trying to toot your horn, bro,
Yeah,
but
I, I
I
I am humbled by that. I appreciate
bro,
it.
like I was like, she's like, "Oh yeah, he's doing his thing." I'm like, "Yes, 100%."
Yeah, I try to do what I think is cool, and if other people like it, that's awesome too. But I'm really doing it as an archive for me, just to remind myself of what I was able to do, or vice versa, all that. But you hit a note that surprisingly, not a lot of people have said, which is everybody does the Obiane, and they go on TikTok, they do the Obiane, and they put a trending sound on, boom, a million views. And then you got like actually trained martial arts people that do these amazing combos. I saw this one dude did like a double backflip, and he's like, "Yeah, let's go." 3 legs. It's like what? It's playing the
Yeah, it's
algorithm, but yeah,
it's weird
I
how that
appreciate it.
works. But yeah, dude, no problem. Like, I got to give people the credit when it's due, cuz man, when I was growing up, I had a friend Jared, and if Jared is ever watching this episode, we would always, try to reenact every scene with our plastic lightsabers. And like, this is like circa 2006,
Yeah,
really trying to get things going with plastic lightsabers. And like, especially now, the neopixels, baselets, they're all, they're each made for certain things. But on your end, like, what kind of lightsabers do you personally like to use to record your videos?
yeah. So I think you hit it right on the nail of the head of the nail when it comes to growing up and using plastic lightsabers. That was practically everyone. Even if you hated the prequels, if you had a lightsaber growing up, you were just fighting with your friends or your cousins or whatnot, Um, so back in, I think it was like 2014 or 2015, um, there was a company called Saberforge, and their competitor was called Ultra Sabers. Um, this was like prehistoric stuff, all right? So this is when lightsaber stuff was just getting cool. This is a little brief history breakdown for you of this. And essentially, they had a in-hilt LED, and you can choose between light side or dark side font. That was it. So, I obviously had this massive delusions of grandeur list where I basically just picked out on the website, I want this lightsaber with this finish, and it has to have this color. And I just made a whole like booklet of like, basically, he wanted to be General Grievous, of course, right? Everybody did at some point with a massive collection like that. But I think the total came out to like 8 or 9 grand or something like that. I'm like, this is gonna take a while to save up for all this.
Man.
There's this YouTube channel. I think his name was Sidious Sabers. I don't even know if his channel's still around anymore. But he acted out on said Delusions of Grandeur, where he would do a review of the new lightsaber, and uh, by the time that he was getting to the end of his list, this was around the time that Nano Biscotti boards came out, which was like the third party market. So essentially, you'd get your sound font or whatever, and you'd send it into somebody to get it installed, tinkered with to make it more accurate.
Okay.
Swinging. So instead of the swing and then it's like, everything's delayed and whatever, it's more accurate. Not even like a couple years later, whatever, Irv Plechter in his basement or his garage or something like that comes out with like Crystal Focus or Profi or whatever it was, or I think it was Pico Crumble was next or something. The Smooth Swing came out, skyrocketed. Everything else under the sun, completely pointless. You had an in-health LED, terrible. If you don't have Smooth Swing with NeoPixel Blade, you're done. You are
Man.
eaten up by the sharks. That is the market of what is considered the best. And I am so glad that I did not act on that list I created. I would be so sad. But definitely NeoPixels and Smooth Swing is the go-to if somehow something becomes better. I usually go with the Crystal Focus board just because the accessibility is easier to scroll through the fonts and stuff like that. But usually on my sort of content, it's mainly just you see the NeoPixel stick blade,
Right.
and then like music playing to it or something like that. So the Smooth Swing is really just for me recording the video. I'll record like a 20-30 minute video outside, and then I will sift through all that footage and like screenshot or a screen record, sorry, like a new video clip on my phone, because I don't know how to edit for anything. I use like iMovie, right? I'll get like a little 4-second clip of like this move that I think is cool, and then I'll just compile them all together into some sort of like mini collage, like tribute thing. It's a lot of
And it
work on
works.
my end. I appreciate like the kind words you saying. This guy's crazy. He does his own stuff. Because it is for me, but I try to make it somewhat impressive for the people that do care. So
I was gonna say, bro, on Instagram, you got a good following, and like every post I was going through, I see the comments are up in the 20s. There's people engaging with your content, and I mean,
yeah,
especially for what you do, that's great, bro. That's great.
I definitely don't feel like I deserve that amount of following at all. And the comments is just that nice little warm feeling in the background of those like friends that are like rooting for you. So that's really who I'm making the content for at the end of the
Yeah,
day. So
absolutely. But yeah, man, I mean, that's awesome. I'm still needing to get a lightsaber in my collection. I have Funkos, Legos, everything like that. Starting to kind of dip into the Black Series a little bit, but I still have yet to get a lightsaber. Basically, I see Saber Theory, I see Theory Sabers, In Sabers, a lot of those brands like that. And at first, I'm probably just going to get a cheap basic NeoPixel. I don't know if I can do the baselit just because I used to have a baselit lightsaber and it's just, it's real red at the bottom, but towards the top, it's like a
fades
flashlight,
out. Yep.
So definitely the NeoPixel is what I got to get. And I think InSabers actually had a hilt called the Mandalorian and it looked pretty cool. But I mean, it was only 149 for a NeoPixel and the baselit was like 119 maybe. So I was like, man, $30 extra. And for a starter saber, should be decent.
Pretty good starter saber. I mean, I don't have a crazy ton in my collection. For the said reason of me not acting on that list, I'm very thankful I didn't. Patting my own self on the back for that one. But really, you just need some sort of basic uh, souped up one. Like when it comes down to like, oh, I need all these hilts. I need freaking Darth Mauls. I need Qui-Gons. I need I need all these character hilts. And you see like the TikTokers that show like their massive collections mounted on the wall and everything.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, as long as you got yours that you're comfortable with and you got all the best tech in it, you don't really need at least in
Yeah.
my opinion, you don't really need to invest anymore. You pretty much got what you're looking for, and it's kind of difficult too because, like you said, you got all these companies that just sprouted up out of nowhere that are they're resellers. Not a lot of them even like make their own hilts out
Right.
there, so it gets kind of confusing to the the average person. They're like, what's an SNV4 versus a Profi? And it's you
Yeah.
really just gotta bite the bullet and kind of wing it. It seems so.
See, and I'm one of those normal people because at first when I was looking, I was like, man, I have no idea. Just as long as it's not baselit, give me
Yeah.
a NeoPixel, and then I'll probably, especially if I like the one I get, I'm gonna be like, okay, I'll look into more and maybe kind of upgrade. But
Hmm.
yeah, I'm definitely in the corner for just one lightsaber, especially if I'm wanting to use it, whether that's in making some clips, kind of starting out, seeing how I can, if I still got the swagger I had when I was 9 swinging the plastic, like times change, so and
Yeah.
this would be the real deal.
Now we have adult money to do irresponsible things.
Yes, I don't have to beg
Yeah.
my grandma for a $9 Qui-Gon from Target.
Yeah, I actually got, so this is the one I mainly used. It's pretty basic, but it's from Saber Trio. It has smooth swing, crystal focus soundboard, and NeoPixel stick. I just got this one, and a duplicate of it, so I can unthread the pommel and then make a staff. So when I'm spinning it
Oh,
around, it has no greeblies in the way. It's perfectly flat, so I can do like the tricks and all that. It gets
dude, that's tough.
gets quite heavy. What people judge it a lot. They're like, "Oh, what do you mean you can't do that trick? Isn't your saber only like a pound or a pound and a half, 2 pounds?" When you make like a 30-minute video trying to do the same trick over and over, your muscles start to seize up. I don't care how strong you are. Even the most strong martial artists that do these crazy flips and stuff, they got to take intermittent breaks in between it.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, just nothing fancy, just like a basic design. But for me, it's good. Like no greeblies or anything out of the way. It had a little CoverTech wheel, which you can like mount it on your belt. I just unscrewed that
Oh,
though, so it's
nice.
like completely flat. Yeah,
Man, that's like real deal, actually. It's
yeah,
got you in it makes you feel like you're actually a Jedi master. I mean, you never really expect that, but
yeah.
that's tight.
Stay strapped, 100%.
Dude, actually, let's go ahead, since you kind of did a little Kickstarter, let's go ahead and start the show and tell segment. Just like everyone, if you're new to this, especially Clan Brandolorian, the podcast, what I like to do, let's go back to elementary school a little bit. Let's relive the younger days and let's do a little show and tell segment. So basically, anyone we get on, we like to show anything in the collection. And if you don't have any items in your collection, we can talk about a memory or any story that you have that's Star Wars related. So I'm gonna go ahead and show off this Black Series Bo-Katan Kryze hologram little classic right here. And I had my eyes on this during Christmas, and I was like, if I can get this for my birthday, just right on the 1st of January, I'll take it. And
That's all I was just gonna ask. Does the stand light up? That's awesome.
it's pretty clean. I got my weird lighting right here, but yeah, this is pretty tough, and it actually takes a while.
It looks like you're taking a message right there, right on the
Yeah,
camera. Super
Bo-Katan
cool.
Kryze. Me and JT need help on Navarro right now.
Somewhere
Get your
in
ass
space.
here.
Right.
But yeah, dude, that's what I got today. This was a good birthday gift, and yeah, it's a good one. I love having it in the collection.
That's dope, man. I see. I have. I'm glad I'm not in the insane, like we call it the sickness in the Star Wars community. You suffer from the sickness a little bit. I can see behind you. You got some Funkos going on. That is it's a sickness. It really is.
It is.
I'm glad I'm not in the Black Series or the sideshow stuff because they all look so cool. My credit card, debt would be immense. So
Yeah.
especially with sideshow's new stuff they're coming out now, they're diving into like the EU characters and
Mm-hmm.
man.
Yes.
But so I'm more of a comic book guy. I got a massive collection of comic books, ongoing with the Marvel stuff like on and off here and there, but mainly the Dark Horse. But over on the
Nice.
topic of lightsabers, I actually just got one from Super Neo X, which is a saber reseller. This is Darth Maul's saber staff. It's an
Bro.
SNV4 on both of them. It's got the 7/8 inch NeoPixel blades, so they're a little bit thinner, a little bit more lighter weight. Kind of, you can hardly even tell the difference, honestly. But then it's got smooth swing, and this actually unthreads, so you can have like the two.
Oh,
Um,
bro.
and this is really convenient that it's this one specifically because I'm actually doing a Starkiller Hoth cosplay in the workings with my friends, and he actually wears like one of the half of Darth Maul's sabers, along with his original, which I got back in that corner, Darth Maul's Kazdan Paratus. He's got like 6 sabers on him on the Hoth costume. So just being able
Damn.
to slightly tackle it that conveniently, it works out. And on the topic of Darth Maul, this one's a little bit cooler in my opinion. This is from the movie Reliquary. That glare is terrible. But essentially, this is a costume swatch from 1999 from the production team that made his costume.
Oh
So,
shit.
so what they did is the original costumes. I think there was one for the there's like an on-screen one where he's just like chilling in the robe, which is a little bit more like steamed and pleated, so it's like a lot nicer. Then there's the
Yeah.
one at the end where he takes off his robe. It looks almost like it's pretty much identical, but it gets a little bit ruffled. It has a little bit more movement in it. Um, I don't know what one it's from, but what they would do is they would archive those costumes. They're probably in like Rancho Obi-Wan or something like that,
Oh
somewhere
yeah.
deep down in the archives. But the costume swatches, the production swatches that they made the outfits from, those are out there. That's just the raw material that they cut from to do the thing. And this guy over in the UK, he's actually like legit. He does like stuff from like Alien. He does like the blood. He does like Doctor Who, like Dalek, like pieces and stuff like that. So it's really cool.
Dude, that's
Darth Maul's.
crazy.
I think my favorite character in Star Wars kind of shifts here and there, but I think Darth Maul is consistently my favorite out of the ones that change. So yeah.
Dude, that's dope. Like, I feel like, I mean, I even have like I'm a Colorado Rockies fan for baseball. So one of my favorite players is Ezekiel Tovar, and I actually have a card that has a piece of his jersey in it. So like, I could only imagine like what, like raw materials that are from like the
Mm-hmm.
sets.
It's
And
history. Yeah.
it is, dude. Like, I think I was watching, like on my YouTube, like homepage, there was a video of this guy who actually had like, Daniel's first like C3PO hand
Yeah, dude. There's
and
a
was
couple
trying to sell
3PO.
it.
Yeah, there's a couple 3PO like hand backplates that I've seen like on the market. I can't tell like which ones are legit because he's in every movie. So
Yeah.
there's no telling how many like duplicates or something are actually out there. But man, that's like a Grail piece, honestly.
Yeah. And man, it's crazy too, because I think in the same video, or it might have been like a Pawn Stars episode, this guy was selling it was like the original carbine rifle of Boba Fett.
I seen.
And
I think I've seen one too. Yeah, there's one with the dude had like a little private collection. I don't know how he got his hands on all that, but it was like an E11. It was like a Sarlacc tentacle, and then like some Mustafar rocks. Like how do you
like,
even
yeah.
what? How do you get all that?
Yeah, and too, like that's the first thing is like when you see people with these things, you're like, okay, where did you get that? How did you get that? That's
Yeah,
always the first thing. But especially items like that, those are super hard to come across. But like, yeah, dude, like that, I would consider that Darth Maul raw material plate right there to be
yeah,
a personal grail in the collection, if not just a holy grail. But yeah,
for
dude,
sure.
that's the thing in the collecting universe, and I've had this conversation before where it's just like we all each have our own grails. Maybe the con sticker Commander Cody or Commander, not Commander Cody, Captain Rex Funko might just be just another Funko in the shelf,
Hmm.
But to some people, like obviously that's a grail, but like my Chase Cobb Vanth with the helmet off, that's a grail to me. I spent months, like upon months trying to find this, and I finally found it, and that's a personal grail to me. So I mean, we all have our own grails, and what kind of ranks in our own collections 100%. But yeah, man, that's awesome.
I think that that what you said is it dives into a deeper connection into like everybody has their own version of Star Wars, like their own head canons, what they connect to the most, their own favorite movies and whatnot. Um, the Phantom Menace is not my favorite movie. It's like it's in my top 3 probably. Um, but one of my friends, Nilda, she actually picked up um, I don't know if it was screen used or if it was just a production prop that was used for the movie. It was Anakin's pod racing helmet, and it had the goggles and everything with like the legit leather straps. I'm like, holy! How do you even find anyone with that? Let alone come up with some sort of reasonable bargaining price that you could somehow manage to get that. That's like a cloud
Yeah.
aligning moment, you know? It's
And
nuts.
yeah, it's like, okay, did Jake Lloyd personally still own this item? Did
Right.
George Lucas just put this in the closet? You know, like where do these items come from? And even just to think, like, I don't know about you, but like when you're around like a celebrity, you're like, man, I'm breathing your air. But I have something
Hmm.
that has been sitting on your back, on your head in my collection. Like
Yeah.
that's insane.
Yeah, I go to Comic Cons and stuff. I got like a celeb list and all that. I just went to Celebration in London, and I actually wouldn't have I actually wouldn't have started to go if I haven't realized to myself what the stakes were. That we really only have so much time on this planet. So do what you think is awesome. Um, and I saw online that Christopher Lee passed away in 2015, and it kind of slipped under the radar for a lot of people. But this dude made my childhood. He was Willy Wonka's dad in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. He's Saruman. He's Count Dooku. Dracula. He's. I mean, even
Bro.
his life
Yeah.
alone. He was knighted by the Queen. He was like like an SS hunter, like spy or something in like World War II. This guy has an insane life, and it wasn't before it was too late to meet the guy that I realized, okay, I need to start meeting these people that are on my list because now him and Carrie Fisher are gone, and they are definitely on my
Man.
list. So I got to start tackling a few of these. So yeah,
Yeah.
it was an eye opener right there.
Yeah, dude, even like all of those things like Christopher Lee's done, like it's just insane to know like the longevity like of his career, you know, seeing all those things. And I'm pretty sure he saw the last public guillotine execution as well. Um
I think you're right.
and I think it was in France or something where the last like the legally like public like insane, dude. Like what has this dude not done? You know, and it's crazy. But yeah, like uh I believe is it Willy Wonka when we see is that when he's like the dentist or what movie was
Yeah,
that?
it's Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory is the Gene Wilder one.
Yeah, Gene Wilder, the
But
old
the
one.
one with the one with Johnny Depp though, he's not a crazy big role in that movie either. I think he only has like 2 or 3 scenes or something like that. Somewhat short, couple minutes of screen time, but impactful.
Yeah.
You know,
The chalk or candy give you cavities and it's like no, you know.
otherwise known as cavities on a stick. You know.
Yeah. You gotta love it, dude. But I mean, like you said a little while ago, you said Maul kind of shifts up in your character list. Who's in that rotation? Who do you got? You know, bouncing up and down a little bit. Who do you have?
Definitely Starkiller, because The Force Unleashed was one of those games I, grew up playing. Um, Episode 3, Anakin, that one too. Grievous somehow slips his way into there as well, because he just looks cool.
Yeah.
And big into the comic books too. Like when you start to learn some of these EU things of what these characters done in the comics, it makes the movies all that more cool. Like
Oh, I agree.
I envy the people who don't know, so I can learn it again. Like I'm jealous of that. Grievous, he was like holding younglings off of like a building or something as like a taunt. Uh, Even the micro series, the 2D Clone Wars with the Battle of Hypori, he kills
Oh
3
yeah.
Jedi and wounds 2, almost kills them as well. Soloing, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, just the comics and the expanded material do justice to the character, whereas someone like Grievous in the movie, you find him running away a lot of the time. Even in the Clone
Absolutely.
Wars, he runs away quite a few. But yeah, Grievous makes it onto that list. I'm off for the weird characters too. Nuke Gunray's on there as well. I don't know. Yeah,
Oh, Queen Amidala.
it is Queen Amidala herself.
Yeah, dude. I mean, for me, I feel like I'm definitely Obi-Wan. That's GOAT Jedi to me. Revenge of the Sith Anakin, can never go wrong with that. I think, and I got the picture down here on the background. It's when he turns into Darth Vader. And it's just, I remember one of my friends, Jordan, back in the day, like we're like freshman, sophomore in high school. And he's like, dude, the scene where Vader turns and looks after he just like, slaughters everyone on Mustafar, and that shot where he just turns and looks and he has the Sith eyes. It's like, bro, cold moment.
Watt Tambor at the end of that table, and they're like, okay, let's go to the next scene, please.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
But, and I feel like, Obi-Wan, Boba Fett, Anakin. I do love me some Cobb Vanth, like I mentioned earlier. I love him in The Mandalorian, the Silver Fox of the Galaxy. I think he kills it. And I think Fennec Shand is an underrated character as well. Okay. I think she definitely goes up and down in top 10. She's not a top 3 masterclass character to me, but it's actually funny you mentioned Starkiller. I know a lot of people who diss on Starkiller, who love Starkiller. Obviously you like Starkiller. Me personally, I never played the games, so when I really started getting back into Star Wars, because I'm late to the Clone Wars, episode 1 through 6, all of George Lucas, 7, 8, and 9 that we get in the sequel trilogy, like that's like the canon I rock with. So at first, when I was learning about Starkiller, I'm like, man, how is this dude, basically overthrowing Vader, has armor, has this, crazy, like, it's just insane. It's like, there's no way this dude could ever be canon.
There's a reason that he's in his own franchise too. It's supposed to be a character for a video game. That's why you hear the media and everything. They're like, we want Starkiller in live action. When do we want him? We want him as an Inquisitor. And I'm at the back of the bleachers. No. And that's a whole rabbit hole to get into. But essentially, for me, it would disservice the character if he was an Inquisitor. It would not only, for film purposes, ruin his power level, which makes sense. He can't do those things in the movie. It would just ruin everything. Not only his power level, but I think it would ruin his character a little bit too, because he's supposed to be the one and only secret Vader assassin. There's not supposed to be this underling, hey, we're doing Inquisitor tryouts, so let's see who can make it through the gauntlet. We already got this with Crimson Empire. The Royal Guards, underneath their cloaks, have this crazy looking armor. They're supposed to guard the Emperor, right?
Right.
And in the comic book Crimson Empire, not even the winner really wins. It's like Kirk Canis is, it's Vader's really, he's really starting to punish everyone, and when you see all the stuff with the Inquisitors, it's kind of a joke. I verbally sigh out loud when I see a new Inquisitor on the screen. Like, here we go again. And I know they're supposed to be just bait, just whatever, right, off characters, just for Vader. He's the coach. Sub me in, and then you fail, you get punished, right? I don't know. I just don't like to see. I'd rather build that concept off of one character that actually gets to do something, even if it's extreme.
Yeah, and that makes sense too, especially with the the corner that you have Starkiller in. You're definitely one to be like, if I like him in the games, but the ones that are wanting him to be canon, wanting him to be implemented into, especially with what Disney Star Wars is doing now, especially with Marek, everyone thought that was Starkiller. I remember making a video right away when those rumors started happening, and I was just like, don't let this be Starkiller. And me being late to understanding the character, it's hard to represent, just because why would he, if he's the one that could beat Vader, why would that would just belittle Vader, the Vader that we see in George Lucas's story. But for a game purpose, makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. And especially people like you growing up with those games, and there's a million of you that grew up with the game, You know, you gotta respect the character 100%.
Yeah.
So that's dope. That's dope.
And I think the translation gets lost when it comes to live action as well too, because um, when you see certain characters, you want them to look a certain way based on your memory of how you loved the character. It's a selfish thing, but it plays off of what the reality of Star Wars is. It's what people love growing up. It's what they are passionate about and all this. So for Starkiller, you know, he has obviously the light and dark side ending where you can kill Vader, and then you attempt to kill Palpatine. Palpatine punishes you, and then you basically fill Vader's shoes, and now you are carrying out Vader's missions. Or the light side ending is basically you attempt to kill Palpatine, and you basically spark the rebellion, which is a cool concept of that. And there are a
Yeah.
couple interviews out there with Sam Witwer too, like what would happen in Force Unleashed 3? And he basically said something along the lines of, it wouldn't really work out that well for Starkiller because even in the second game, it still has a light and dark side ending. I think when you have those kind of branches too, it gets even confusing for the sweaty people because it's like a what if scenario in a what if scenario, right? So it's really not something that, in my eyes, could be justified in live action. I think what they did, even with simply just putting his Sith Stalker armor in Andor as a background prop, is
Oh
good
yeah.
enough in my eyes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's a good shout too, because I mean, even if shows like Andor, where that gets a lot of love and it also gets a lot of hate, I feel like for the most part, it's the visual of Andor just beautiful, and like even
yeah.
little Easter eggs like that, and the impact Mon Mothma has in the show, which is really awesome. But obviously, the biggest thing I took from Andor was that Andor was actually building the thing that ultimately kills him.
Oh
And that's
yeah, 100%. Yeah.
it's it's whack, dude. Just like what? But you really get the cool things. I loved B2 EMO, the service droid for his mom, really cool. And
Yeah.
then kind of runs around with him. But I actually did see like a TikTok that was talking about the Starkiller, the suit thing in the background, which is
Hmm.
really cool because at first I'm like, I would have never noticed just because I never played those games. But kind of getting back into it, I'm like, dude, that's really tight. Because there's also, wasn't there like a holocron or something?
There were tons of Easter eggs in Luthen's shop. There was like Wookiee artifacts, like Wookiee weapons. There was like a mortis stone with like the hand symbols from like the son, daughter, and father. There was a ton of like little things. There was like Plo Koon's like rebreather
Oh
mask
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
his
yeah, yeah.
species wears. There was a lot of little things in there, but the big one for me was definitely Starkillers that jumped out. And I wish I had it with me, but my friends are actually currently building it, so I can't show you. But when it gets in my possession, my first legit cosplay. Um, and we spent many hours looking at the details on his costume, and some we even missed too. Like I grew up playing this game with how much you think I've seen the character, you'd think I'd know every like freaking like armor spec and damage on it. No. We caught a couple things last second that even surprised us, and I'm happy to be working with my friends that are doing it because they have the same keen eye, um, to know what we're looking for here. So
That's tight.
it's gonna be legit. And but yeah, dude, some really nerdy stuff gets deep into it. We were looking at the bios and everything, like the Sith Stalker armor, um, the tan version of the suit. When you see him get raised up, like he's like on that table, and Palpatine's like, "You will do my bidding until I find a new apprentice." And he's like, and then the droid pokes his eye out. You still see that little tiny bit of blood on right under his eye piece on that mask that is carried throughout the DLCs and on the character. Such a small little detail. It happens the last second of that cutscene. That droid pokes his eye out, and that same tan costume, the basic Sith Stalker, in the Tatooine DLC, it's the same exact suit. He just puts like greeblies and wrappings on it to make it like a Tusken disguise. But we were looking at so many little details, like on his tan version, in the in the Tatooine DLC, he jumped right after throwing like Ben Kenobi into the Millennium Falcon. This is like some crazy, like, this can't be in live action stuff, right? He kills Ben Kenobi's ghost and everything. He puts a tracker on the Millennium Falcon. He jumps down and he looks at the tracker in his hand, and his ring finger has like a spike going out of it, right? In the
Oh
next
yeah, because
DLC over, you see him just wearing basic gloves, but if you have the keen eye, you know that there's a spike underneath that glove, right? So there's a lot of like little things here and there. He's got this like red tattoo on the tan version that's like underneath the silver armor pleat. In the Hoth version, he's got that same tattoo, but it's on the back of his like kilt. It's like, so like, even if you have the best camera in game, you would totally miss it. It's just like a lot of little stuff you would never even think. You gotta love the character to be able to get into it. But like even the bios, like it describes the Sith Stalker armor as like an ancient set of armor that some sort of like acolyte would wear to carry out their dark side bidding to their master. And the armor itself is painfully grafted onto the flesh of the user. So you can imagine what kind of went on before he got raised up in that table, what was happening to him. There's a prototype version of the armor as a random skin in the game. It's a completely gutted version of him without the suit. He's like missing his jaw. He's got like a Terminator eye. He's got these like red liquid like Bacta tubes sticking out of like in his lungs, like through his back. This dude looks crazy. That's what he looks like under the suit. So there's a lot of like little things. Like if you've never played the game, you seriously gotta get into it.
This is 100%. This is all brand new to me, so this is really, really interesting because
I'm probably describing all this, and you're like, I have no idea.
But that's the whole point, dude. Like, I would hate to, talk to a new friend and be like, all right, so what did you like about Revenge of the Sith? Like stuff like that. That's a cool conversation that we could have sometime. But I mean, for me, looking from the outside, I don't know Starkiller, so my thing is like, bro, he's not canon. I don't care about him. But now I'm like, hey, I might have to get Game Pass or whatever these games are on and start playing and just seeing a different perspective of Star Wars.
Yeah, and the story is what you make of it too, like how you play the game specifically. I've found this out to be in the Jedi games, Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor, that they have a lot of elements of what it would be like if a Force Unleashed came out in today's day and age, like the top-down third-person view with like the type of combos that you can do, the hack and slash enemies, and even like the character development as well. It still has that like bouncing back and forth between the light and the dark and everything. There's a lot of similarities here and there, but it is what you make of it. The gameplay is definitely what you prefer to do in that sandbox world. If you prefer to go out of your way to take out more enemies or get the collectibles or whatnot, it's all a blast.
Yeah, that's dope, dude. So after this conversation, I'm really sitting here thinking like, man, I've talked shit on Starkiller in my past. But that's the thing. That's the ignorance, though, is not understanding the character. Like, you like Starkiller. I'm really excited to see this cosplay. I'm not one who partakes in a cosplay. I will show up to a convention, to a con, swagged out a little bit, nice jeans, a nice Star Wars t-shirt. But at the same time, I love seeing all the cosplay. So that's tight, bro. Like once you get that done, make sure you give me a shout, just because I love seeing it. It's art. It's art 100%. So maybe I'm going to have to. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and on top of it, I get to support my friends that are helping me build it as well. So it's a win-win in that scenario. And as I'm reverting back to our previous topic before, so with the Darth Maul lightsaber was sent because I'm actually meeting Ray Park in less than a month. And the recent post I just made on my Instagram, I'm actually training for the Obi-Wan fight sequence as soon as Qui-Gon gets stabbed and he comes right out of the laser gate. It's like that fast, like explosion
Yes.
thing. I've been looking at tutorials and stuff online to try to get it to a T. But I've seen like online people post like master classes and stuff like that. So if I don't get the costume swatch signed by him, either the lightsaber or whatnot, because even though they're, companies do like resell sabers and everything like that, they still put a crazy good job into like the detail work and just respecting the characters in that sense. And my buddies from Civilized Sabers, actually, they make the brightest NeoPixel blade on the market, but they only have a couple thousand in following, right? They definitely don't get the recognition that they deserve. Kyberphonic, he jumps into there quite a little bit.
Nice.
He's got like 12K or something like that. But this guy also does sound fonts for Theory, Star Wars Theory, who is the big
Nice.
honcho guy, of the Star Wars community. He's got the word out there. So yeah, people definitely don't get the recognition that they need when it comes to the quality that they put into the things that they make. And it's kind of sad, but at the end of the day, we all got each other anyways, because it's a tight knit community and we're all family, and that's the coolest thing about
Absolutely.
it.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, you can't go wrong with it. And sometimes I feel like I burn people out when I bring it up, but like I feel like, a lot of my following, especially on Instagram, whether I'm not even at 200 followers yet, but the YouTube channel we're pushing 300, but everything that's happened, man, it's just been so organic. And I've met so many people, like you and I, like we chopped it up a little bit through a DM, and like
yep.
here we are, so like
First time talking face to face, and we're clicking it like buds from high school. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. And that's one of the huge points of my show, is just it's a conversation. I don't want anything to be just kind of thrown out, like let's make something of it. So and that's what we did, man. But is there is there anything else that you wanted to end the conversation with?
Not in particular. Just a thank you for having me on. It was a
Yeah,
blast. I'd definitely like to come on again for sure.
absolutely, dude. I can always save a spot for you. But yeah, with that, is there where can everyone find you? What's your channel, your Instagram, your socials? What do they all mean on your side?
So my Instagram is my main platform. You can follow me right here. This is my name, j.t.lovecraft. I'm also on YouTube as well, but I only have like 40 subs. I don't take it as serious as I'd like to. I only got 2 videos on there. But it's all work in progress anyways. It just comes down to the will of doing certain things, because I'm going to conventions, building a cosplay. I'm also building like a 6'4" commando droid that has been in the works for like 2.5 years. It's just like having the time
Okay.
to finally get to this stuff. So yeah, you can find me on Instagram as my main thing here.
Yes. And if I can pull any weight to any viewers, go follow him. Everything is right here, as we said. And I'll also drop all your links below. So everyone, if you guys want to show JT some love in his craft, go ahead and give it to him that way.
I
But
like it.
with that being said, I used to think I was a rapper back in college. So I feel like I can come up with some things on the side real quick. But as always, man, thank you for coming on, and hope you have a good night. And everyone watching, thank you for coming by and making this possible. So with that being said, Clan Brandolorian, I'm out.
Peace.